From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight, a large-scale outage left thousands of Golden Valley Electric Association's members without power last evening.
That's right, 10,000 members out of their 44,000 were affected in total. Although the outage only lasted 15 to 20 minutes, some were without power for much longer. The cause was a disruption in the intertie line that connects GVEA to Anchorage. Diesel-fueled generators are being used to provide power to those who were knocked offline by the disruption. Linemen have been working the southern portion of the intertie to determine the cause of the disruption and have yet to find an answer.
It's under investigation on what the problem is that caused the outage. Matanuska Electric out of Wasilla patrols the southern half of the intertie, and the plan this morning was to patrol the intertie by helicopter, but that got canceled due to freezing rains. So right now the line crew is using snow machines to do ground patrol and look for what might have caused the outage. They can't find anything, then we'll try to reconnect, because that is less expensive fuel being burnt in Anchorage of natural gas, and we buy the least expensive fuel.
One Ryan Middle School student had a close call today after what onlookers described as slipping under a bus. The 8th grade student slipped and fell on some ice and landed under the bus. The driver was able to see the boy and stopped before he was actually run over. Ryan Middle School principal said it was a close call and the student was okay. His father was there and left the scene with his son.
The student was not run over, and as a precaution, the fire and ambulance were called to make sure that all of our students were safe, and that's pretty much what happened.
The United States obtained proof of life of a Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson soldier who has been a prisoner of war since 2009. Officials say a frail and shaky Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is seen on a video that was intercepted by the U.S. last week. In the video, Taliban members demand the release of 5 members in return for his release. Bergdahl disappeared from his base in Afghanistan when deployed with J-Bear's 425th Infantry Division. This is the first video released of him in 3 years.
Anything that proves that Bo Bergdahl is still alive is welcome news. I don't know exactly what situation he's in or what condition he's in physically, but the fact that he's got a proof of life video out there showing that he was alive as of a couple of weeks ago certainly helped Mr. and Mrs. Bergdahl. The Bergdahls have noted the support that comes from Alaska. It is where their son was last stationed. The military commanders up there have reached out to them on several occasions, and I know that means a lot.
A newly signed commercial agreement expects that the state's equity share in a major natural gas pipeline projected to be as much as 25%. The agreement, signed by officials with the state, TransCanada Corporation, and the North Slope's 3 major players, spells out terms for a new direction in pursuing the long-hoped-for gas line project. Meanwhile, the Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority has picked a company as its top choice to build a North Slope liquefied natural gas plant that could provide gas to Interior Alaska customers. The authority will negotiate with MWH Americas Incorporated on terms of a contract to build and operate a plant that could liquefy gas for transport by truck to Fairbanks.
An open house in North Pole last night gave residents a chance to ask questions and hear the latest about contaminated drinking water. Representatives from the Alaska Departments of Environmental Conservation and Health and Social Services were on hand. The contamination dates back to 2009 when sulfolane from the North Pole refinery was found to have seeped into groundwater. Right now, over 300 people live in the affected area, and Flint Hills is responsible for making sure they have safe tap water. Among the updates, officials with the DEC say that upcoming research by the National Toxicology Program will take a look at the possible health effects of sulfolane.
Those studies will take between 3 to 5 years, so it's nothing we will hear right away from. But with that, it just provides more information on all those questions that people have on health effects. I mean, these are experiments that will try to answer some of those questions.
A lot of the people are just saying, hey, we're really happy with the water. We're happy that you're servicing the units or delivering the bulk water or providing the bottled water. So very positive response.
When we come back, increase in housing. There will be an increase in housing for soldiers coming into Fort Wainwright. That's going to be our military report.
Also, the EPA released its final Bristol Bay Assessment. We'll have the details. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Environmental Protection Agency today released its final Bristol Bay Assessment, describing potential impacts to salmon and other resources from proposed large-scale copper and gold mining in Bristol Bay. Bristol Bay supports the largest sockeye salmon fishery in the world, producing nearly 50% of the worldwide sockeye salmon, with runs averaging 37.5 million fish each year. Over a 3-year period, EPA compiled the most current science on the watershed to understand how large-scale mining could impact salmon and water in the area. The assessment will be a technical resource for governments, tribes, as well as the public.
EPA has compiled the best, most current science on Bristol Bay ecology and fisheries and assessed the potential impacts of mining on those fisheries. We received over 1 million public comments and drafts of the assessment during the last 3 years. And following 2 rounds of rigorous peer review by a panel of independent scientists, EPA has concluded that large-scale mining in the Bristol Bay watershed poses significant near and long-term risks to salmon, wildlife, and native Alaska cultures.
The Alaska Works Partnership is starting up its annual winter-spring construction trades training. The classes being offered are entry-level and will be free of charge. The basic trade courses being offered include carpentry, weatherization, electrical, painting, taping, hydronic heating, and welding. The application deadline for carpentry is tomorrow, Thursday, by 4 p.m. All other applications will still be accepted until January 31st. No experience is required and all equipment is provided.
When we're looking at the industry in a whole here in Alaska, it's been down a little bit the last few years, but there's some new money coming in on the budget here for some upgrades in some of the military bases around the state. So quite a bit of construction on the horizon. And as far as background, don't need any prerequisites as far as working in construction before. If you're just wanting to try it out, see what the classes are all about, see what the construction trades might have to offer you, just come on down, sign up, fill out your application, and get it in by the deadline.
If you are interested, you can sign up online at akwp.org or pick up an application at the Alaska Works Partnership, which is located at 3580 Cartwright Road. We've also provided a direct link to the application on our website at webcenter11.com.
Soldier Barracks and Housing is gearing up for an increase in soldiers. We have more now in this week's military report. The Army has announced plans to increase personnel stationed at Fort Wainwright.
We're going to gain here at Fort Wainwright over 300 soldiers, up to possibly 500, and there will be dispersed throughout primarily the infantry brigade here. And we're looking forward to the challenges of housing them. We have ample single soldier space for the new arrivals.
But that doesn't mean the placement will be easy.
Doing long-term studies now to determine exactly where the housing is going to be.
With Army housing being renovated and completely redone, the soldiers will most likely see new barracks and improved living barracks.
If you've been on Fort Wainwright, you've seen the very nice new facilities that we have. But also what you don't see is the inside of the older buildings. Those have all been updated and modernized. And some of those are still being updated or will be turned into office spaces to accommodate keeping the leadership closer to the soldiers.
For the new soldiers coming in, they may utilize a program that has been enacted to assist single soldiers living here called the Better Opportunity for Single Soldiers.
We specifically focus on recreation as well as quality of life and community service outreach. We do try to let them know day one that they're here, that, hey, we're here for them. We do have bi-weekly meetings for them to come to, and they can voice their opinions and voice their concerns because senior enlisted advisors are there, NCOs are there as well, and they're here to help us, not to just shy us away.
It isn't without the help of local and state leaders' support of the military that the increase has been seen. Fort Wainwright commands all know that it is the community support that keeps them going.
Fairbanks leaders in the community is just absolutely wonderfully supportive to us. And so their initiatives to keep the fighter wing here, for example, in the area, and to keep Fort Wainwright on the map has resulted in us gaining soldiers where most other installations are actually losing soldiers.
Stephanie Woodard, News Center 11.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
All right, Joe Cook has a loaded sportscast coming up with previews of Ice Dogs and Nanook basketball and a game that went into overtime last night.
Oh, wait, you don't want to miss sports. That's coming up next.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. We're getting over the hump day with some sports. The Ice Dogs are gearing up for another 3-game series during their 3rd annual Stick It to Cancer event this week. The Wenatchee Wild come to Fairbanks. The Ice Dogs will be wearing pink jerseys this week. They were working hard this week in practice, looking to continue their 4-game winning streak. Discipline will be important as always. The Wild have scored 34 times on the power play this season. That's 2nd in the NAHL. The Ice Dogs are scoring on power plays too. Fairbanks only had 10 going into the holidays. Now they have 16. The Wild are next to last in the Midwest Division, but are coming off a win over the Brown Bears and have had the Ice Dogs number. Kyle Lee feels that will change this week.
They took 3 from us, and we only took 1 from them, so we're really itching to get a good sweep against them. They said they feel comfortable playing against us, and we got to take it to them hard.
We just can't be content with our efforts, no matter if we're up, if we're down. We always just got to keep going, have that killer instinct for sure. But, I mean, we just got to stay patient and stick to our game plan for sure.
They're a team that has a good power play, and if we're able to match them on the power play, we're confident in our 5-on-5 play. So it's very important for us to have confidence in our power play going into this weekend series.
The UF men's basketball team is back in the Patty Center this week for a pair of GNAC games. Tomorrow night, they face Central Washington. They'll host Northwest Nazarene on Saturday. Central has the 3rd best scoring offense, and Nazarene has won 3 out of 4. And the pride of Hutchinson High School, Kevin Rima, leads the team in rebounds. UAF has a balanced attack, however, with 4 players averaging double figures, and the top scoring defense in the GNAC, allowing just 67 points per. That's 34th in the country. In the Patty Center, the Nanics are 6-0 and 8-0 going back to last year. Stefan Tietze thinks I should probably stop mentioning how well the Nanics do at home.
Well, we don't want to jinx it now, don't we? No, we just play good in front of our home crowd and stuff, and we shoot well, we run well, we motivated.
Sometimes we have scoring droughts on offense, so we feel like if we can just play defense every game and and stop our opponents, we'll win the game regardless.
We played great defense on Saturday against Billings, and then we shot the ball well, and that made things a lot easier. So, you need some shots going in too. Seems like make some shots that energize you on the defensive end too.
Now for prep sports, yesterday at the Big Dipper, Monroe faced the Tri-Valley Warriors. Monroe started well as Dylan Steele scored off the Mike Coley assist to give Monroe a 1-0 lead. Ethan Graham had a monster game with 53 saves for the Warriors, but the Rams would get theirs. Monroe was up 2-0, then Richie Stickle tied it with 2 goals of his own for the Warriors, but Coley, however, nails what would be the game winner with 5:32 left in the 2nd period as the Rams win a close one 3-2 over Tri-Valley. Also last night on the ice in the Big Dipper, North Pole against Hutchinson, and it was Carmon Teal's night. Teal had a hat trick for North Pole. Teammate Wyatt Conroe scored twice as well. Teal scored in the 1st and twice in the 2nd period. Brandon Rustad had 2 tallies for Hutch. That was about it as Alan Honikin had 20 saves for North Pole in their 5-2 victory. And it was David versus Goliath last night at North Pole High School as the Patriots hosted the Hutchinson Hawks. The Hawks, one of the smallest boys team, taking on the big Patriots. 4th quarter action here. Lance Wright, he had 13 points, 10 boards, and 6 blocks. He gets the alley-oop from DeAndre Campbell. Hutch was down by 10 in the 3rd, but in the 4th, Morgan John with the putback. He had 12. Hawks were up 2. Then Khalil Stewart with the and one. He ties it at 58 all, but he misses the free throw. He had 15 points and 19 rebounds in this one, but Ryan Delory, the inbounds play, hit a clutch basket here. That will force overtime after Hutch hit some free throws. The game is tied at 60, so we go to OT, and Jordan Schuster happened in overtime. As Stewart and Nolan fouled out, he put North Pole up 67-62. Then Daniel Page, he answers with the big 3. He had 23 points. But at a game high, but Schuster responds with another bucket. He scored 8 of his 10 in overtime. Goliath dodges David's rock as North Pole wins 71-68 in overtime over Hutch.
Yeah, we always talk about David Goliath and we're giant killers, so it was cool for us to be able to come back and battle like this. Yeah, with Buck and Khalil, we know somebody had to step up, and we talked on the sideline. We knew we had to really click.
We had a battle with those big guys, and the thing that won or lost this game tonight was rebounds. And we're so undersized that we have to work even harder than any other team to box out.
The girls' game wouldn't be as close, or would it? North Pole has been hit hard by injuries as Willow Stewart and arguably their best player, and Helen Hutchinson, were out. But the Patriots started strong with Lindsey Daniels, 2 of her 4 points. The Patriots were up 9-8 over Hutch at one point. Then the Hawks just turned up, as the kids say. They went on a 14-0 run, led 22-9. By the end of the first, the Hawks allowed just 13 points, winning 57-13, shutting out North Pole in the second half. Credit that full court defense. Kiana Edwards had a game high 14 points for the Hawks, and Ellie Veazey had 10 for the win. Also tomorrow in high school basketball, the start of the Joe T. Classic basketball tournament at Lathrop High School. This year's field includes the Kodiak Bears, the Juneau Douglas Crimson Bears, the Monroe Rams, and the host, the Lathrop Malamutes. Games start at 3 p.m. on Thursday through Saturday, the last game at 7:30. But Friday night will be a special night because at 7:30, Lathrop will honor the 1964 state championship team as those alums come back to the Golden Heart City to be recognized. That's it for sports tonight. Your full weather forecast is next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Mike Schultz with you once again. Time to take a look at the weather, and the temperatures are warming nicely. Like I said, we're looking at near 20 degrees Friday. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Here's our photograph for tonight. This is a very nice one sent in by Gary Kahlberg, and we'll call it Aurora Through the Trees. You can see why. Look at the colors, beautiful colors resonating through the trees there. And again, if you have a photograph to share, by all means, send it to us at photos@ktvf11.com. Your numbers look like this for the time of year. The normal high is 0. Well, today's high was right around 9 degrees. The overnight low around 18 below normally. Wasn't too bad last night. Record high 50 in 1981, that year of 1934. Again, another cold one, 64 degrees below 0. Sunrise and sunset, 5 hours and 16 minutes, a gain of 6 minutes from yesterday. Well, here's our satellite and radar. Again, you can see a lot of moisture moving up from the south, and that's also bringing the warm temperatures with it. And some of that moisture is going to work its way into the Tanana Valley over the next day or so, giving us some areas of light snow, maybe an inch or two possible. What's going on across the rest of the state today? Well, for the most part, things have quieted down over southeast Alaska, although they are looking at more heavy rain moving in there. Snow showers around the Anchorage Bull area and around the Kodiak Island area, also around Cold Bay and up in the North Slope. 23 degrees below 0 at Barrow and 8 degrees below 0 at Fort Yukon. Lower 48 weather heading on down there. Again, more snow falling across the Central Plains. Another Alberta clipper moving across. Lots of sunshine across the deep south and over the southwest. The drought continues there. On our satellite and radar, you can see that one system that brought the snow to the Great Lakes yesterday. Another storm system moving across from Canada into the northern sections of the country and bringing more cold temperatures and strong winds to 50 miles an hour. It all is being brought in by the jet stream. As you can see here, a lot of cold air coming in from Canada, helping to reinforce that cold area across the eastern half of the country. And then just opposite, way across the other part of the world, in the southern hemisphere, in Australia, they are going under an incredible heat wave. Australia had 12 of the 14 hottest places in the world today. Unbelievable. And it's expected to continue. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow in the northern sections. Mostly cloudy skies in Barrow, partly cloudy skies at Nome, and a little light snow for the Nome, actually for Fort Yukon. In the interior, we're looking again at cloudy skies, 1 to 2 inches of light snow at Fairbanks and Healy, also Delta Junction. While over southeast Alaska, the rain returns, heavy rain at Juneau, steady rain for Ketchikan. Over to the southwest, looking at light snow at Bethel, rain and snow for Cold Bay, and showers in Kodiak Island. And around the south central sections, rain and snow at Anchorage, rains at Homer and Valdez. Time once again for our kids' weather, and tonight we have a young man with a weather question.
Hello, my name is Landon, and I'm in Miss Ferries' 4th, 5th, and 6th grade class. And my question for the weatherman is, what causes lightning?
Well, lightning is caused by dust particles when they're inside of a storm, the clouds running against each other, causing the static electricity, and that in obviously a larger scale, and that's how you get the lightning. Pretty interesting too. Again, tomorrow night the teacher will be here to share an interesting Fairbanks weather fact. Here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Cloudy snow likely developing after midnight, 9 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, 13 degrees. Periods of light snow, 1 to 2 inches are possible. And the extended forecast, again, mild temperatures heading into the weekend with periods of snow off and on, cooling off a little bit by Sunday into Monday. But all in all, for this time of year, temperatures will again be way above normal, as the normal high is 0, and we're looking at temperatures in 20-degree category.
Wow, just gets better and better this January.
This is great, yeah. It's really, really nice for this time of year.
Okay, thank you for that, Mike. And with that, we have run out of time. From all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a great night, and we'll see you at 11.
Good night.